There's a place in the woods called Aspen Ridge because of all the populous trees which grow there. This is where we're from. We are the Popple People. Welcome to our channel. We're glad you stopped by. In this episode, we'll be repairing the steering clutch on this 1959 John Deere 440 crawler that we disassembled in a previous video. Once everything had been taken apart, the quill was coated with sleeve retainer so the new sleeve could be inserted. Then we marked the sleeve with a Sharpie so it would be pressed into the quill far enough but not too much. Then more of the sleeve retainer liquid was applied to the sleeve as well to be sure it won't come out again. The sleeve retainer liquid needs to set for 24 hours to cure properly, so in the meantime, we prepped a few other components. The throwout bearing was pressed off the carrier. Next, the old cam inserts were removed and those holes were cleaned out before the 3 new cam inserts were placed. Then, the old cam inserts were removed from the cam assembly. And then the new ones were placed. We packed them with grease. And then the whole cam assembly itself was greased as well. The balls were greased to help hold them in place in the cam inserts. Next, the cam assembly was placed and all those springs were reattached. The steering clutch linkage rod was reattached, and then the retainer was installed with a channel locks. The carrier for the throwout bearing got greased next, and Loctite was applied to the stud. Then this was inserted into the slots on the cam assembly. Well, moment of truth. Will it work when the steering clutch lever is pulled back? Great success. The cam and throwout bearing are working properly now. Next, the clutch was disassembled. There were a total of 6 bolts and nuts holding the pressure plate on. And finally, the clutch fiber discs and steel plates were removed. 7 fibers and 6 steels came out of this model. Yours might be a bit different depending on the serial number of your crawler. So this actually didn't need to be done but we pulled the gear hub back to see what was going on behind it to try and figure out why the drive shaft wouldn't come out. The whole drive shaft pulled out of the pilot bearing fairly hard, most likely because of the grease creating a suction effect back there. We used a blind bearing removal tool to pull the pilot bearing out so it could be replaced. Next, the driven disc surface was cleaned up with a wire brush. The new pilot bearing was placed. Then it was filled about half full with high temperature grease. Finally, the drive shaft was reinstalled. If you have questions, email us at thepopplepeople, all one word, @gmail.com, or flip-flop a comment below. We love to hear from you. Stay tuned for our next video where we'll reassemble everything. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoy this video and want to follow our journey, please consider subscribing. That way, you can be a Popple People too. We'll catch you next time. Bye.